Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Dig Deep Coaching Virtual Grand Tour, stage number 18. We're changing it up. I'm on a bike today. So I'm going to be being coached by Stephen Gallagher through the workout today. I don't know what I've gotten myself into as I've just been sitting here throughout the entirety of the tour so far. So, Stephen, what the heck am I in for? And let's chat a little bit about how this is going to go down as we get through the warm-up. And I get to actually experience the warm-up that we've been talking so much about.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've picked a day. You thought it was short, so you think you're going to maybe get away with an easy ride, but sadly you've got that wrong. So luckily for all of us, we're able to watch you. We're basically able to watch you suffer, and I'm going to have great pleasure and making you dig in. And so hopefully, again, we're going to try and get you through it as well and explain a wee bit about what's happening. But a wee briefly on today. It's a short one, so I think we're only about 45 minutes long. But don't let that take away from the actual effort that we'll be doing. So it's, again, very different to what we've done in the last couple of days. Today, our persona is going to be the lead-out man. On the pretense that it would be a bunch sprint, which it was today. So very different to what we've done. Lots of threshold work these last couple of days, lots of long durations, lots of tempo stuff. So today we're really mixing it up. We're going to start the race today with about 20 kilometers to go, mimicking the route where there was a Cat 4 climb, about 2.1 kilometers long. About 19 kilometers to go, so we're starting there with about a 5-minute threshold effort and around 98%, lowering our cadence down just because of the gradient. So we're bringing it down to 75 RPM, so that Côte de Vix. I think it's I think that's maybe
just a little Cat 4 in there.
Yeah, so. Yeah, there's a little Cat 4. So, and then we're going to run into the town with mimicking, first of all, bringing our sprinter up into the bunch and holding his position. So, anybody who watches the Tour de France or any pro races, it's a washing machine effect of going up to the front, coming back down, going up to the front, coming back down. So we're going to try and, make the effort, get to the front, getting our rider to the front, surging to keep the pace, dropping back, bringing them back up. So we're doing that then with probably, again, we're going to look at 10 Ks to go. So we're doing sort of 2 reps of 3-minute efforts, basically 2 minutes at 90%, then 1 minute at 105%, just mimicking the surges of going up the bunch. And then that brings us really into a really difficult 9-minute block at the end. So that is really us looking at that last 5 kilometers, last 5-6 kilometers, and what we're doing is we're going to replicate the effort of you taking long pulls at the front of the group. So keeping the pace high, keeping the effort high, keeping your sprinter to the front, and that's going to be 1-minute efforts at 110% at 105 RPM. So really, going into your VO2, high cadence, low torque. It's going to be high speed. And at the end of that 9 minutes, the last 1 minute of that set, it's actually you're dropping off your sprinter with 300 meters to go. So we're going from 1 kilometer to go to 300 meters to go at 140%. So that last 1 minute is the last bullet in your armory to really leave your sprinter off.
Oh and
so that's at the very end again. So it's completely different to what we've been doing, and it's going to be for anybody who has done these last couple of days. It might be a relief that you're not doing lots of sort of threshold work or whatever, but it's very different to what we've been doing. So it's a great mix.
I can see that. Oh man, the 1x1s.
I can't
look a little difficult.
Yeah.
Easy after 40 yesterday.
Yeah.
Ken, I have to agree with Holly there. It is. It does look a little easier, but different. That's for sure. And going over into that 330, we're going to be asking the level of ask in my brain for reprieve is going to be a little higher during that, I think. Like a little quicker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where you're like, please no. It's going to come out a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This
And it's you know, this is like I said, it's a great. These are great efforts as well, sort of to mimic a wee bit of tolerance work. And you know, the fact that a lot of them are done at a high cadence, so it's, you know, we're looking at high RPM for those people that have been doing a lot of the work the past couple of days, a lot of the strength work and whatnot. You know, that's maybe going to benefit the muscles a wee bit in the sense that the hard efforts are going to be at a really high cadence. So again, we're using them sort of fast twitch muscle fibers and really trying to engage them rather than lots of slow efforts, what we've been doing for 10, 20, 30 minutes in the last couple of days. So once you get through that first 5-minute block, you know, almost use that potentially as a bit of the warm-up. You know, anybody who hasn't maybe hasn't done a lot of intensity the last couple of days, just before we go into these 1 minute on-off efforts, that 5-minute block at the start where we're mimicking the Cat 4 is really going to help sort of open the muscles up a wee bit and open the lungs up a wee bit. So you have 5 minutes rest after that.
I wonder who he's talking to. Anybody who hasn't done any intensity in the last couple of days? I think that's me.
Yeah, I think most people here.
That's me.
Yeah, we're talking about you. Yeah,
we got a lot of new people here. Actually, we are seeing 15 people in here, and a lot of new names. Yeah. So good to see them. In here.
Yeah, and they should be thankful they weren't here the last 2 weeks.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
So,
you know, we still see the regulars. Cycling Idiots in the house. Holly's in the house. Lox is in the house. See who else is here. Quite a few of the regulars, but also some new faces, so good to see them.
Yeah, Ken Holly's there. 75 RPM is banned today. I don't know who it's banned by. You know, you could, you could just pretend that your big ring is broken or something, and that you have to ride a high cadence, but we won't tell anybody. So, yeah.
You're also saying there's 3 Kiwis, isn't it? Really early in the morning there?
Yeah, I don't know what time it is in New Zealand. Yeah, I would assume it is going to be 5, 6 in the morning. So happy morning to everybody. Ooh. They're all well.
Okay, I don't know how much talking I'm going to do. I have no idea.
No, I don't think you're. Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah. Again, I think we're gonna, you know, watch Nathan having to use a bucket today at some stage, maybe at the end. But again, it's gonna make great viewing. So, but yeah, these.
Here we go.
Yeah.
In the broadcast
exactly.
And the workout. Let's go.
Yeah, and we're gonna actually make sure that he's you know, that he's hitting his targets as well. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So
in other words, I'm going to be harassed the entirety.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to you know, talk to you too much because you're gonna be suffering a lot. But yeah, Cycling Idiot. When am I gonna do mine? That's a good question. That's a good question. Monday.
When are we gonna get this
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, next Monday. Yeah, next Monday. Yeah, I'm doing the post-stage recovery ride. The post-day recovery ride. Yeah. So if anybody would like to join me, I'll be doing a 1.5 hour ride at 150 watts to the coffee shop and back. So yeah, there we go. That's that is good. You will see me on a bike pretty soon. So let's just put it like that. You'll see me on a bike pretty soon. So but yeah, so there we go. High cadence now. Let's get rocking and rolling. So concentrate on bringing that cadence up. Don't worry too much about the power as well. Like, so, you know, it's not a too worry. So even bring the power down a wee bit. Keep that cadence up, nice and smooth. You know, again, when anybody who's doing this sort of high cadence work, it can be. Sometimes people can feel a bit of comfort if you start rocking a lot and you're trying to move your hips a lot. Anybody who moves their hips a lot and, you know, their top of the body whenever they're doing these sort of high cadence efforts, sometimes it can be bike position. Maybe the bike position isn't great, or they haven't done a lot of stability work.
He's saying NOOB, noob.
Noob.
Nathan,
yeah.
you're rocking so much, you mountain biker. Let's go.
Yeah. We're gonna. If we had a camera from side on as well, we could really criticize your technique. But yeah, so. Oh, cool. We can do that.
We can do it.
Yeah, let's. Okay, let's do a bit of. Well, maybe do a bit of side camera on these high cadence efforts. Maybe later on these 1 minute blocks. later. Let's
We just
let's
got to
maybe
make
get
sure
that.
that
So
Nathan is not Jessica, and then we can do it.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. So but yeah, that's pretty much, we're getting to the end of this warm up, and we're going into the 5 minute effort. So everybody just get ready for, like, again, it's going to be low cadence, bit of strength work coming in. That's our Cat 4 climb with 18, 19 k's to go. You just got to get over it. There's no accelerations, there's no jumps. We just need to make sure that it's a pretty steady tempo the whole way up. So don't get too excited. Again, we've got 5 minutes after it of recovery, so we actually have quite a long, comparative to what we have been doing. We have a long recovery after this 5 minute block. So just get into it, focus on the end of that 5 minutes. Don't be worrying too much about these 2 minute or 1 minute blocks coming up. So just bring down that cadence, and head up, chin up, trying to get the air in as well. Yeah, you can feel it. Ken Holly, he can feel it. Second idiot, he's not too happy at the minute either. So yeah, it's there's maybe a lot of unhappy people here, but yeah. So anyway, rock and roll, and don't be like I said, try not move that upper body too much as well. So try and get a wee bit of discipline in your upper body, and we'll see how it goes. So
I gotta see if I can get the full view side cam here going on. So gotta move the upper body a little bit.
Yeah, a wee bit, and again, especially for early in the ride, you shouldn't be really that fatigued in the sense of needing to get out of the saddle too much. I can understand later on when people are quite tired and they're dropping down a cadence and the gradients going up, that you would need to get out of the saddle and think of yourself as Alberto Contador and giving it full gas. But try and sit in the saddle as well. Hands in the tops, relax the hands as well. Don't worry about gripping the bars too much. Again, a great way to, I always say, to increase technique and to also help improve your core and your stability and the long term of your hips, and trying to get that power down through your lower back, through your glutes, is to really actually relax the hand. So not so much gripping. Sometimes you'll want to grip the bars, but maybe trying to open them up a wee bit. So just literally resting the top of the hands on the bars to try and, that forces you not to rock, because obviously you're not pulling on something to keep you rocking. So maybe just open the hands a wee bit. Again, using that technique, it'll help you. Basically, it'll help you trying to stop that rocking motion as well. So, but yeah.
Right now,
you're doing good.
I'm trying to get the color right.
yeah, you're trying to get the color right, and what's quite funny is actually the color in your face is going a different one.
Red.
So
it's going full red.
Yeah, it's going red. So yeah, it's going up. But yeah. So anyway, just keep it concentrated.
Pretty soon.
Yeah. Piano fingers. There we go. Piano fingers. Thank you, Ken. So let's look at them piano fingers and keep them straight, and try and work a wee bit on that technique. So there we go. So yeah, we all know that you were a mountain biker. We can see that already. So nobody's going to criticize you here.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so again, keep it steady tempo.
So tell me everything I'm doing wrong. What am I doing wrong?
No, you're doing good. You're doing good. So just make sure that you're not moving again too much, and keep the chin up as well. Opening the airways, chin up, keeping that. Opening the lungs a wee bit is a real important one to try and get the air in. So that, as much as anything, remember, we're not going, again, this is hard, but it's only 5 minutes long. We're down to just a couple of minutes with 1.5 minutes left. So, it's not a whole long duration. Whenever it's quite short like this, again, try and focus on your technique as much as possible. I know a lot of these guys and girls have been doing it the last couple of weeks. Whenever it gets to the end of the stages, and whenever we're really digging in deep, technique goes a wee bit, which is fine. But whenever we're at the start, whenever the ride is, the intervals are short, try and emphasize the technique as much as possible. So keep that head up, keep the air coming in, keep breathing in, and don't be worrying too much about thinking too far ahead of this 5 minutes. So
yeah, maybe.
And after this, we can relax.
Our FTP might be a little lower than we think. Come on now.
I think your FTP is perfect. In fact, I think you should put it up a wee bit. Your FTP.
Oh gosh, suffer.
So if anybody thinks we should put we should put Nathan's FTP up by 5%. Please,
Ah!
message in and
donations?
yeah, we'll.
Where's the donations for that one?
Donations to that one. So, there we go. So that's it. We're nearly there. So yeah, I've just got somebody said Anson Brooks just said that I sound like one of the guys in Conor McGregor's team. Nope. Conor McGregor's team, I think, would be a wee bit more aggressive than me. Shout at Conor, but yeah, I'll take that as a compliment, Anson. So there we go.
No, I do ride the bike, Andy, once in a while.
Yeah, he does. He does ride the bike. He does.
Maybe not
So
enough lately with how much that hurt. Holy cow.
yeah, there we go. So, okay, that's our 5 minutes done. Anybody that wants to drink, now's the time to do it. So, you've just started. Again, you've done your warm up. If it was me and you were wanting to take, any sort of large amount of fluid, you don't want to do it whenever we're going in a short effort. So, if anybody wants to drink, I would start taking a bit of fluid now. So, on board to get ready for this last sort of solid 20 minutes or so.
All right. Sounds good, Coach. Here we go.
Bring the breathing down, sit up, even take the hands off the bars, relax the shoulders a bit, relax the back a wee bit. Again, doing that sort of strength work as well can build a wee bit of tension in the shoulders and the top of the neck. That's what I find whenever I'm climbing a lot. So, anybody who's got the kickers that sort of replicate even the gradients and whatnot, so that might be something as well. You get a wee bit of tension in the neck, so maybe just loosen that out a wee bit. But yeah, so if you think you're suffering,
Go ahead.
if you think you're suffering now, we had the fortunate task of
17
going
stages?
through. Well, yeah, we have the fortunate of talking about 17 stages, but we had the enjoyment of looking through Mikel Nieves' data from yesterday. Anybody who remembers yesterday's stage will know.
Take a look at it.
65 kilometers of pure hell, basically. So yeah, here's a bit of a snapshot we've done of the part of weight on the 3 climbs. So you can see first climb straight off the bat, he done his pick 1 minute power right at the bottom, right in the first 200 meters of the stage, basically. So that was his attack. He got on that main move with Adam Yates on the that first climb, 339 watts, 5.75 watts per kilo. He actually did 20 minutes on that climb at 5.97 watts per kilo. So he actually done about 20 minutes at just under 6 watts per kilo actually during that. And then, he was distanced a wee bit on the Côte de Val Lorraine as yet. So he got distanced just slightly on that. But again, we look at his power and it was identical from the first climb to the second climb. So that was maybe his go-to effort. 5.75 watts per kilo in around 340. 340 watts is maybe what he thought he was comfortable with, that he was able to do without, exploding and going up. And then on the Col de Portet, at the bottom, he was with the yellow jersey group until about the bottom 2 and a bit kilometers of that last climb up the Col de Portet. And then after that, it was the reverse lights went on and he just rode tempo the rest of it. So, it took him an hour, 7 minutes at 4.46 watts per kilo for that last climb. But the bottom of that climb, when he was with the yellow jersey, it was at about 5.7 watts per kilo for about 8 minutes. So that tells you probably a lot of the guys were riding between 5.7 and 6 watts per kilo in that yellow jersey group on that last hill. But what was really interesting was the first 36 kilometers, which took him 1 hour 18 minutes. He had an average power of, I think it was 305 watts, which was 5.2 watts per kilo, normalized 330 at about 5.6 watts per kilo for 1 hour 20 minutes, basically. So, most people 5.5 watts per kilo, 5.6 watts per kilo is, way above their threshold. He had to do it for, an hour 20 minutes. So it was a real intensive stage. Just looking at that, everybody, it was a real intensive stage for everybody yesterday. There was certainly no soft pedaling. Even the last climb, they had to ride at 4.5 watts per kilo.
Steven, that 5 minutes was a warm-up? The heck are we doing next?
No,
Okay,
but
let's-
that 5 minutes was the climb. That was the climb. Your 5 minutes
Okay,
was
we're done climbing.
the climb.
Okay,
That was the
we're
climb.
done
Yeah,
climbing
you've
for
done your
today.
climb. You've done your climb. That's not. Yeah, you've done your climb. So, so yeah, this is just a general overview of yesterday's stage from Mikel Nieve. So you can see here, you know, it was a real intensive ride. So you know, he was doing a lot of efforts in around 5.7, 5.8 watts per kilo for the longer durations, and you know, you can see here again his peak 20-minute was on that first climb, 352 watts at just under 6 watts per kilo. Again, that was what was needed to be in that initial break. So anybody who's seen that a big move went of 22 riders, which he was part of. And again, it was there to support Adam Yates. But you know, if he's riding at 6 watts per kilo for that 20-minute duration, you know, Alpha Philippe took off. He went pretty deep on that climb and on the next climb. So I suspect he was probably, you know, between 6 and 6.2 for quite a lot of that first climb. So, but yeah, it was pretty intensive to say the least. So,
All right, we're into 270.
okay.
2 minutes here
Okay.
for me. What is this? What am I doing right now?
So at this point here, we're starting to bring your sprinter up. So we've got to really try and bring the sprinter up to the front of the group. Anybody who watches the races knows that it's just a washing machine effect of going up, going back, going up, going back. The guys trying to bring their sprinters up, holding position, and then dropping back. So this is, you know, 10, 15 Ks to go. We're trying to get our guy into good place. So to do that is quite intensive. So we're doing 2 minutes at 90%. And that's you just riding pretty close to the peloton or pretty close to the front. And then we're doing a 1 minute surge. So it's only at 105%. So it's not full gas for a minute, but we're doing it quite fast. So that's you bringing your guy up the side of the peloton to bring him back to the front. Then we're back off for 1 minute. Then we do it again. Bring our guy back up to the front of the peloton. So it's all this pre-work that a lot of people don't see. Holding position, bringing our guys up and down, using them matches to help our sprinter hold the position, and that's the reason why these stages can be so intensive at the end. So just concentrate on the cadence a wee bit here. It was 95 RPM, 90-95. Don't go overboard with that. And then to bring that effort up for that 1 minute, again, it depends on your erg mode or whatever your setting is. Don't worry about changing gear too much. Just raise the cadence up to that. Raise your cadence up to 105, and that'll should bring your watts up as well to 105% and 105 RPM. So as long as you get hitting over 100 RPM for them 1 minute, you know, it's not too bad. So
Okie dokie. 176
Here we go.
beats already. Only wants 105.
ready to go.
RPM. Here we go, boys. Oh my gosh. So is my heart rate gonna jack because of the RPMs? A lot of people say that's really
Yeah, your heart rate's going to go up.
correlated.
Heart rate's going to go up, and also the fact that you know, we're not having a lot of rest between it as well. You know, the most recovery we're having now is sort of 1 minute rest, and you know, it's not going to be long enough to get the heart rate down for long periods of time. In that 1 minute, again, depending on your fitness, you know, your heart rate should come down at you know, by 20-30% potentially from what it is at that ceiling. But as we go along, you know, the cardiac drift is going to go up, so it means then that your heart rate potentially isn't going to go down to the level of what it was at this point. So yeah, so just concentrate. You're nearly done. A couple of seconds left. Focus on that, and then that's your finish line, and bring it back. So
BRG,
again,
be
for everybody
nice to me.
here, take a sip now. Get some fluid in you. Don't wait till later on. Don't drink whenever you're thirsty. If you drink when you're thirsty, you've drunk too late. So get the fluid in you now and make sure you get in.
Time for hats
Head
off.
up, big breath. Time for hats off. Yeah. Dude, you need a haircut.
Time for the hair.
He hasn't.
Here we go, Suave. Oh my gosh. It's too much. Too much on the heat.
So there we go.
180s.
Okay, so we're.
So, question, Stephen. Untrained,
Yep.
heart rates consistently 5 to 10 beats higher than when trained.
Yeah.
Obviously, to me. What?
Yeah.
Can you give an explanation as to why that's happening?
Okay, so a lot of that comes down to obviously your general fitness, and especially if you haven't done a lot of you know, I don't really like to call base training as, you know, lots of people riding at zone 2 all the time for long durations of time. Whenever I say base, I mean your base race fitness. So, you know, your body's probably ability to cruising pace, basically. So, you know, I'm assuming that you haven't done lots of maybe 2-hour rides or 3-hour rides in around the sort of, you know, 220, 230 watt mark, whatever that may be. And, you know, that there, whenever you're starting to do that, you're able to, you know, your heart rate should start to come down a wee bit. So, you know, probably trying to concentrate maybe on 2 or 3 weeks of bringing that heart rate down and doing lots of sort of tempo work, I would say, you know, and then, you know, short activations as well, going up into your VO2, a bit like this, simulating this here once or twice a week. Over that point of view, isn't going to make you really fit, but it's going to bring that heart rate a wee bit down, especially if you're a wee bit undertrained and the fact that you haven't done a whole lot. You know, I think that's probably where I would go before I would look at doing higher intensive work. So, you know, lots of tempo work, the odd activation.
We're not supposed to do this right now. No, I'm just kidding.
No. This what I'm saying is for you to start on Monday. So this is yeah, this is, yeah, you can do this on Monday. Until now, on Monday, you can base yourself on this. So
all right.
So yeah, I mean, you know, as much as I would really like to say you've been struggling to date, you've been hitting all your you've been hitting all the targets. So
we got the stars.
You know, don't. Yeah, you've been getting the stars.
Only a little ways in though. Oh my gosh, the hard stuff's about to start.
So there we go. We're not far away now. Like I said, just concentrate on this 1 minute. Don't think any further ahead. Don't worry about anything else other than this next 1 minute. The end of that, and then with 1 minute.
You can see me looking at it, going, "All right,
yeah,
what's coming?"
Yeah. There we go.
Want it.
Okay, let's rock. Okay, bring that cadence up a wee bit. That's it. Again, try and keep your head up. Keep the breathing. That's the other one. Don't try and let the breathing go. Your focus is obviously on the, you know, on your legs going around, getting that high cadence up, and, you know, trying to keep that technique. But remember as well to, you know, try and get that breathing in and out as well, because a lot of people tend to forget that, especially when they're starting to go at their limit. So again, it's very important that you try and look at that. And you know, I don't want to say about compared to the best riders in the world, because, you know, they're obviously, a lot of them guys are kind of superhuman, but you can see why, you know, they're so good, because, you know, they're suffering as much as you are. You know, everybody suffers the same as us. They just go a lot faster. But look how steady they feel they are. Look at their breathing. Look at how they're you know, their positioning, the way they can deal with it. So yeah.
Right,
there we go.
over.
Bring it down. Bring it down. Get a wee drink. Sit up. Hands off. Because this is your last minute of recovery before we go into quite a hard 9-minute block. Now,
insanity.
The benefit that you're going to have is our 1 minute off. So this is our 1 minute off periods is actually lower than what them 2 minutes were. So we're bringing it down. You're going to bring it down to 240 watts, which is 80%. What we're looking at now is this is us coming into the last 4 kilometers. So we have got to be at the front. So it's our turn to be riding at the front. What you've been doing up until this time is just bringing your rider at the front, you know, close to the front and holding position, and bringing them back up and holding position within the peloton. Now it's our turn to ride at the front. So the team's going to the front. We're going to start rocking and doing hard 1 minute pulls. So high cadence, high effort. Let's get it going here. So up to 330. Bring your cadence up. Focus on that. Just remember that 1 minute after this, it's not complete rest because you're sitting on the rider's wheels, but it's a little easier than what it was before. So short turns.
We're going into eye closing time. Here we go.
Going into eye closing time. You know, just make sure you don't fall off. What's the traffic lights? For anybody else who's, I know a lot of guys here have been on this for the last, you know, 2.5 weeks. So let's not give Nathan any sympathy either. You know, let's make sure he's got to do it. So that's it. Okay, we're only bring that power up a wee bit. You've got 10 seconds left. Just bring it up a wee bit. 7, 5. There we go. Okay. So this is for those people that really want to get big adaptations out of this. A lot of times whenever you're going quite deep, certainly you're going quite deep in these hard efforts, sometimes the tendency is to not focus on these recovery periods and go too easy. But, to build your race endurance, so your ability to not so much punch really, really high, but to be able to be consistent in the efforts, trying to keep that tempo now, not letting your body rest too much, is really good. I know what a lot of people will want to do whenever we get 2 or 3 steps in. A lot of people will want to just sort of drop on the floor and bring that power right down to 50%, 60%, and then hit that 1 minute effort. Really, if you've got a good fitness and you really want to get the most out of this, try and be disciplined and keeping that at about 80%. Don't let it drop too much. Okay, so again, it's going to be a lot harder to bring it back up, but the benefit of it is going to be great for certainly your race endurance. Here we go. We're back up. 1 minute. Look at the clock. Okay, so 45 seconds. Bring that cadence up a wee bit. Just don't worry too much about using all that strength. So we're not far away now. So after this, we've only 3 more 1 minute blocks, and yeah, we're able to get through it. So. Just think that you're Arnaud Démare coming into the finish, ready to be the saviour of France, getting a stage win. You're having to lead him out. There's pressure on you. There is pressure on you, Nathan. So, yeah, maybe not as much as Arnaud Démare today, but yeah. That's it. And we're down.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. Go. Bring the cadence up a wee bit. Don't use a lot of that strength. Bring the cadence up a bit. Head up. Big breaths. That's it. Nobody said it was going to be enjoyable. I know. Yeah, I know that you thought maybe today was going to be a short, easy one. So I said, just bring the cadence up a wee bit. Relax them muscles a wee bit before we hit this next 1 minute effort. So remember, it's your responsibility to keep that PSI in the front of the peloton. So
180s. Holy crap.
That's it. Here we go. 5 seconds. Back into it. Head up, focus. Don't worry about too much on these next efforts. So, after this, we've only 2 more efforts left, basically. So there's only 2 more efforts left. We get through this here. That's it. That's it. Nearly over. So keep the pace high. We've got to make sure none of our other sprinters are trying to get up on us. So it's your responsibility to make everybody, digging deep. 185 BPM. I don't want to scare you, but yeah, you'll definitely deserve a good drink, cold drink after this. So that's it. That's it. Head up. 8 seconds. Perfect. If you're gonna drink now. If you're gonna take a sip, now is the last time to take a wee sip, just to rinse. Nothing big. Rinse the mouth. It's always nice to have a bit of, to not feel so dehydrated in your mouth. So I just hope everybody else is yeah, scary. That's right, Segment. It is scary. My heart rate is similar watching them. So we go. 30 seconds. Now this effort is the last effort that we're replicating, pulling at the front of the peloton and the approach to the sprint. After this is basically our lead out. So let's just worry about this one last minute effort to keep the PSA in front of the peloton and keep the head up, look straight in front, try and not lose concentration, trying to think of other things, and yeah, dig in. We'll get through this last bit. 2 seconds. 1. Here we go. Up. That's it. Try and get that cadence up over 95. Preferably up to at least 100. That's it. Nearly halfway. So Andy Harrison has just messaged me saying this is comedy gold. I'm not sure what he means by that, Andy, but I think a lot of people are taking pleasure in seeing the suffering. Nearly at the finish. 15 seconds. Just a wee bit more. 5 seconds. Here we go. This is it. Last effort. We're gonna drop our sprinter off with 300 meters to go. Let's think this is the kilometer to go banner with on stage 18 of the Tour de France. The pressure's on you to make sure your man has got the big bullet to take the win. So everything you've got basically. So. Last big surge. Yeah. I think you might be seeing some new high peak heart rates today. So.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Good luck, everybody. Last effort. Boom. 420. Cadence. Keep focused. Don't worry too much about anything else other than, 2 legs like pistons going round as quickly as they can. Nearly at halfway. Come on. You can bring it up. Bring that cadence up. Don't use your strength. Come on. "15 seconds. Finish line is in sight. You're gonna drop your man off. There we go. Nothing left. And 197 BPM, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the world of close to 200 BPM. You want to see what it's like to be at 200 beats per minute? That's it. So, well done, everybody. Especially Second Elliot and Ken, everybody there who's been he's been on this for the last 18 days basically. So, Nathan's rocked up and done one, and he yeah.
Hard.
Congratulations. Your man just won the stage.
Yeah. No, we took third. All that we took
Yeah,
third.
we took third. Yeah. Ken Holly's his sprinter won. So
Ken Holly's sprinter won. Oh boy.
yeah, Ken Holly's sprinter won.
Nice.
So he deserved
No
it.
training, and we jumped in, and probably an FTP from weeks ago. So excuses, but holy crap.
But I mean,
That's actually my
anybody who.
FTP.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting whenever you're going to look at your power file from this. Obviously, the power distribution going through it, and also more importantly is your heart rate, your cardiac drift. I mean, we could see there that your heart rate just wasn't coming down. Basically, them last 3 or 4 efforts that you were doing at 1 minute, your heart rate wasn't coming down. 2 or 3 beats. So we could really see right from the start. And I think that's what we said earlier on the broadcast, is that we would probably see your heart not coming down over them efforts, purely because of the lack of training that you've been doing over that over these last couple of weeks. And this is something again everybody can take. If you've been consistent in your training in the last 6 months or year and a half, that your training has been quite quite consistent in that sense, with the odd break like we've had in the last couple of weeks. You haven't been doing as much when you do get back into it, you are going to come back quicker than somebody who has been real start-stop in their training for prolonged periods of time. So consistency is the key to a lot of this, and making sure, I would probably estimate that within 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks of consistent riding, a lot of tempo work, a wee bit of sweet spot work, and a couple of activations like these 1 minute bursts into your VO2. That's going to bring your heart rate down, certainly by a good sort of, I'd say, 5 to 7%, certainly over 2 weeks or so.
So 2 Zwift races a week don't do it. Need a little more.
No, and the problem with maybe just doing that is they're almost too hard. So you're not. It's not a. The Zwift races are probably too hard because to bring your heart rate down. They're great to do to get the activation, but trying to bring in more tempo work, more structured work. Maybe trying to extend the duration a wee bit. To an hour and a half or even to 2 hours possibly at stages. But trying to do that for 2 or 3 times a week is that's going to help bring your heart rate down than doing lots of high intensity efforts in what would be like a Zwift race basically. So.
You only get 1 a week, Nathan. That's what I'm hearing. That used to be the training plan, actually, is 1 a week, maybe 1 every 2 weeks, and everything else was focused. Intervals and peak powers on all different zones, etc.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
boy.
well done.
Too much
well
fun.
done, Nathan.
Too much fun.
Yeah,
that was hard. That was
racing
really hard. I haven't seen 197. I don't even know. Last time I saw 201 in a race over the winter, I think. That's my highest heart rate in 10 years, by far. So you pushed me to my second highest in 10 years, I think, just now.
Yep, yeah, for me.
All right. It's Steven's turn. Who says it's Steven's turn? Let's get the votes in chat. Votes in chat for Steven's turn.
Yep, my turn.
We gotta get. We need to get Fleeman in here.
We need to. We need to get
coaching, and then we'll have Steven on it.
if there's one thing I'm never ever going to do is have Fleeman try and pace me through an interval set. No. We've been teammates for too long, over too many races and years to know that whenever I'm in a deep place, nobody wants to be talking to me basically. So
all kinds of swearing, I have a feeling. All kinds of swearing.
And I can swear in a lot of different languages as well. Yeah.
George Caldera says, streamer actually, he streams. He says the red zone went to your face. It definitely went to the face.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
whew.
And I think again, I'm taking this from a point of view of having watched Nathan, suffer over that last sort of 45 minutes, but basically that is very similar to what everybody should be looking like if you've probably done it right. That is the type of hurt, and again, this is why we're trying to bring these replications into these workouts of what the guys have been doing in Tour de France. And this is exactly how people feel after they've laid out. And don't think that these guys that are doing the lead outs, don't think these guys that are hitting the front with 10Ks to go, that their job isn't easy at all. The type of intensity that these people need to ride at the front to keep the pace at, the peloton today coming into the finish was sitting at 60 kilometers an hour for that last sort of 4 kilometers. So, to try and do that, to try and keep that pace, these guys are going full tilt. It's not enjoyable. So this is why we're trying to bring that up. And again, for anybody wanting to take on a bit of racing as well, it's great preparation. Maybe a wee bit too hard if you're haven't been doing a lot like Nathan. Obviously you haven't been doing a lot, so it's going to be difficult to try and get through it. Full credit to you actually did get through it. That second 1 minute effort, I wouldn't have put money on you to get through it, but you did.
Oh yeah, you know where to place your bets? Right here. Yeah. Place the bets right there. Tomorrow's Tour de France. The everybody's predictions. NG.
Yeah.
NG.
Yeah, there we go. I think if anybody thinks Nathan should go into the Zwift Academy, please comment
boy.
below, and let's see how he stands up to a lot of 19, 20-year-old neo pros. So I think that would be entertaining. Yeah, but I mean, look at your heart rate, you know.
George is saying thanks a lot to Nathan and Steven. You're welcome. It's great to have you guys here. The encouragement is really good. A couple more comments coming on through. Ken is saying lower TSS for a while, thanks. And we also see Quentin coming through saying, oops, that was the easiest yet. 55, redo FTP next week.
You know, that's a really good comment, Quentin, actually, because if you do feel that TSS is quite low, or the perception of the effort is quite low, probably because your fitness has increased over this 2 weeks. So, don't change it now. You're right. Look at maybe doing an FTP next week, setting it again, and even trying to replicate that same workout. Obviously anybody who's joined into us, you'll get the workouts sent to you. Maybe even replicate this workout maybe the end of next week again, just to reference exactly the power and the heart rate compared to what you did this week. So there's a good tip.
Yeah, real good. Great comment there coming through. See what else is happening here. And tough in the heat wave tonight. You guys got a heat wave over there, Steven?
Well, yeah, so I'm currently based in Ireland, and a heat wave in Ireland consists of anything in double figures. So yes, we do. I assume Aaron is potentially in the UK, where it is actually properly warm. Well, properly warm, 25, 30 degrees. So yeah, congratulations to Aaron. Make sure you've got a good fan and get the aircon on. So yeah.
You speak Spanish? I don't speak Spanish. Sorry, Oscar.
I do speak a few words in Spanish, but nothing I want to air here. But yeah. So
appreciate you tuning in there, Oscar.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll look to find some Spanish commentators as soon as possible. HR Drift was impressive. Oh my gosh, it was out of control. Ken Holly, out of control.
Yeah, and bringing your graph, were we seeing on your graph there, of your heart rate, we can really see that, once we got into that second, that second 1 minute effort, we were doing the pulls, bringing your teammate to the front there. You can see just before we went into them 110% efforts, that basically your heart rate never came back down after that. So it just went up and went up and went up. So them 80% efforts, your heart rate didn't come down. And again, anybody who wants to be specific in their training, and what we do as coaches and what our team do is obviously being able to compare efforts, being able to compare intensities from 1 week to the next, and being able to adapt. A way to see improvement isn't necessarily seeing your power going up, but it's how your body responds between these efforts. So for me, if we were to do this session again, Nathan, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, an improvement for me would be seeing your heart rate coming down in that last 9 minutes. So whenever we were bringing that down to 80%, it's not me wanting to see your power going up where you were doing 340 for them 1 minute, for them 1 minute pulls. I don't want to see that going to 350 or 360. All I want to see is that you're still able to do it, but your heart rate is coming down during them 80% efforts down to, what was it? Were you going down to 240, something like that, 250? So that you're coming down to that, but also your heart rate's coming down.
I was barely holding on to it though. I mean,
and that
you saw
that
me
is
go to my cadence. You saw me go to my default cadence too. Like
you were going down 79, 80, 85, and especially that last 1 minute effort, you were really going down to you just basically were just grinding it.
Don't find your power. Don't use your force. You were like, because I was like, I can get it if I shift up. I know I can get it if I can shift up. And you're like, no, up the cadence, cadence.
Again, this is something we can, go into the future is, again, an adoption and an improvement isn't necessarily, and this is where, a lot of people need to understand, isn't always your power going up. It's maybe you being able to do that effort, but wanting to do it at 90 RPM. Because if you were, if your default was then being able to do that at 90 RPM instead of 75 or 80, which is what you wanted it to happen, means that, you're able to do them efforts time and time again because we're not using as much muscular strength. So we're not increasing your FTP. We're not, potentially, increasing your fitness as per se, but it's your technique and your body's default that you can use your higher cadence to try and get through them efforts, which means you can do them more repetitive. So again, this is something that a lot of people, and again, what we work on a lot as coaches, and that's why we like to be as specific as possible in our training, and we, you know, are proud to help people all over the world, you know, do such things. So.
Right on. All right, it's been a great workout. I feel good now. Feel good. I'm gonna we'll get a recovery
I feel great,
drink.
by the way.
Yeah, I bet you feel real great. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet, Stephen. All right. You have a good night, Stephen. Always really appreciate it. Put me through the ringer, that's for sure. I'm going to pedal out a solid maybe hour to an hour and a half, take some of the suggestions here from Stephen to get some bass in. But, Stephen, thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Cool. All right. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers. All right. That was Nathan Garrow Suffering with Dig Deep Coaching Grand Tour, stage number 18, replicating the flat stage of the Tour de France today. I'm going to finish out this hour. We'll see you guys tomorrow on Zwift Community Live for the next stage, stage 19, back into the mountains. As always, everybody, great job to the riders. Thanks for pushing me on through those intervals, and ride on.